Perfectionism is not a quest for the best. It is a pursuit of the worst in ourselves. The part that says nothing we do will ever be good enough. Be willing to do things badly. You will eventually excel. That was from Julia Cameron's The Artist Way. Let's talk about it. Hi, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for all the support on my last video. I think it's almost at 100,000 views now, which is literally crazy because it was only my third video ever. And I'm so grateful and I'm so excited. Thank you for subscribing. But it is quite intimidating to have an audience before I've found my style or know exactly what I want to do with this channel. And it's a great opportunity to really learn to trust myself. But a few days ago, after that video started taking off, I was like, I'm gonna get to work and make the perfect video essay about an unrelated subject. Spent 5 days writing, 5 days editing, saying this has to be perfect. I tried to emulate Mina Leigh's style because I love her videos. But she's a talented editor with years of experience. It just was impossible for me to make a video like hers. But I tried, and I must have spent like 12 hours in one day. After a very long day of editing, my brain felt like TV static. And I was looking at the video, I was watching it, and I said, I don't even like this. It just didn't feel right. And I realized, oh, the perfectionist demons, they're back. I thought I had overcome my perfectionism, but I totally haven't. There is a lot of value in putting time into a project. The way I was doing it just wasn't healthy or fun. So a quick little Oxford definition of perfectionism. Perfectionism is the fact of liking to do things perfectly and not being satisfied with anything less. So the dictionary doesn't tell us this, but what we need to realize is perfectionism is rooted in shame. Brené Brown has some great lines about perfectionism in her book Atlas of the Heart, which is a beautiful book that just goes into the detail of the roots of different emotions. Shame is the birthplace of perfectionism. Perfectionism, it's not striving to be our best or working towards excellence. Healthy striving is internally driven. Perfectionism is externally driven by a simple but potentially all-consuming question. What will people think? It is a self-destructive and addictive belief system that fuels this primary thought. If I look perfect, live perfectly, work perfectly, and do everything perfectly, I can avoid or minimize the painful feelings of shame, judgment, and blame. It limits success and often leads to depression, anxiety, addiction, life paralysis, and not pursuing our dreams and fear of failing. The antidote to perfectionism is self-compassion. Self-compassion involves treating yourself with kindness, acknowledging that mistakes are a part of being human, and understanding that worthiness is not earned through performance. Lauren Baptiste says that the 3 P's of perfectionism are people-pleasing and procrastination. And if that's not the truth, back to this book, Julia Cameron recommends thinking back to your childhood or middle school self, and if you have any creative monsters, like people who judged or critiqued you that made you stop trusting yourself, that made you expect shame when you put yourself out there creatively or whatever it may be, which is a really helpful exercise. It's always middle school. Why is it always middle school? Dark times. Yeah, that and surrounding yourself with people who support you. Now I want to get into having the audacity, which is another thing this book showed me. We don't need supreme talent, we just need to have the audacity to do things. As blocked creatives, we often sit on the sideline critiquing those in the game. He's not so talented, we may say of a currently hot artist, and we may be right about that. All too often, it is audacity and not talent that moves an artist to center stage. As blocked creatives, we tend to regard those bogus spotlight grabbers with animosity. This is not just jealousy, it is a stalling technique that reinforces our staying stuck. We make speeches to ourselves and other willing victims. I could do that better, if only... You could do it better if only you would let yourself do it. I love the concept of just having audacity. And it's not in a negative sense because we often hear it like that, you know, she had the audacity. The definition of audacity is a willingness to take bold risks. And it's not arrogance, it's quite the opposite. It's saying, I know what I want and I'm gonna do what it takes to get it. Not because I'm better than anyone, or the smartest, or the most talented, but because I have the audacity. For me, this makes my goals feel so much more achievable. Speaking from my own experience and conversations that I have with others, so many people have such big dreams and ideas that we think we can only accomplish if we are talented enough, if we are smart enough, skilled enough, whatever it may be. We're such perfectionists. I saw a TikTok a while ago and it said something along the lines of assuming other people are gonna judge you is judgmental in itself. because you're assuming the worst about people. And I love that. It is true, some people are judgmental, especially on the internet, but most aren't, and I don't want to be a judgmental person by assuming the worst. The perfectionist fixes one line of a poem over and over until no lines are right. The perfectionist redraws the chin line on a portrait until the paper tears. The perfectionist writes so many versions of scene 1 that she never gets to the rest of the play. The perfectionist writes, paints, creates with one eye on her audience. Instead of enjoying the process, the perfectionist is constantly grading the results. T. I'm realizing that learning to do things badly and learning how to create without one eye on the audience is kind of like a muscle that you have to exercise. We're social creatures. It's impossible to completely let go about what others think. But true creativity is not going to come from a place of fear. Growth isn't linear, I think it's going to take time to practice getting used to that. I think also measuring progress backwards rather than forwards is really helpful if you're doing a project or something. Instead of looking and being like, this is missing things, look backwards and be like, I've come so far. I still think we should be putting effort to things, of course, that's part of the joy of the creative process, but I just wonder how many amazing artists or musicians would be out there if they didn't judge themselves so harshly or experience perfectionism. I think there would be a lot more. We're in a time where we need real people making real art. With the rise of AI, things are going to start losing character, and it's going to become clear who is using the creativity that comes from their hearts and embracing the imperfections, and who's using AI. Side note, isn't it so funny how you can just tell now when someone's using ChatGPT in their writing? It's not just blank, it's blank. If I were ChatGPT, I'd say, it's not just perfectionism, it's fear. But anyway, humans are imperfect and we have to let ourselves be imperfect and weird. A painting is never finished. It simply stops in interesting places. A book is never finished. But at a certain point, you stop writing it and go on to the next thing. A film is never cut perfectly, but at a certain point, you let go and call it done. That is a normal part of creativity, letting go. We always do the best that we can by the light we have to see by. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think, if you have any advice about perfectionism. And yeah, cheers. Cheers, love. Bye.